You're welcome.
To answer your question, Councilwoman Surgeon, from my window here, it looks like it's not drizzling, but one never knows. It feels like it's raining all the time now.
Yes.
Seattle.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being with us here this evening. My name is Mally Rosado. I'm the Council President for the Court of Common Council for the City of Hartford, and I am calling to order this regularly scheduled council meeting of Monday, July 12th, 2021 to order. For those who are viewing us through any virtual platform, you could view us on Facebook page at Hartford Public Access TV, Comcast through Xfinity, Channel 96, Channel 6032 through Frontier. So once again, thank you for being with us this evening. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilwoman Bermudez.
Present.
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Gale.
Here.
Councilman LeBron. Councilman LeBron. Councilman Mitchum.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Present.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilman Sanchez.
Present.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
I see LeBron, but we're not hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm present.
Now we can. Now we can.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And now our town clerk will lead us onto the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we suspend the rules to add the following items to our agenda. Item number 1 would be Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the transfer of 11 city-owned properties to the Hartford Land Bank as part of their Lot Next Door program, which was item number 5 on the May 24th, 2021 agenda with a hearing date of June 21st, 2021. Item number 2, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution that will authorize the sale of a blighted property at 213-215 Lawrence Street to Mr. Aaron Gill of Wolverine Property LLC. As you know, Mr. Gill is a committed local resident and developer and chair of the Frog Hollow Neighborhood Revitalization Zone. This was item number 2 on the June 14th, 2021 agenda with a hearing date of June 21st, 2021, which was also referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission under Connecticut General Statutes 824 for a 824 review. And item number 3, which is a resolution to reappoint Ted C. As the Court of Common Council's appointee to the Internal Audit Commission.
I second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilman Mitchum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we place on the consent calendar the following items. Item number 3, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the City of Hartford's Department of Health and Human Services to receive an annual grant in order to support public health emergency preparedness activities, funding from the Capital Region Council of Governments. Item number 4, Mayor Bronin with a company resolution authorizing the city to apply for and accept approximately $3 million in Ryan White Part A federal grant funds to provide core medical and support services to people living with AIDS, HIV in Hartford and surrounding areas. Item number 5, Mayor Bronin with the company resolution authorizing the City of Hartford's Department of Health and Human Services to receive funding from the Environmental Protection Agency to strengthen public outreach on EPA-approved disinfectants for their use and to train community health workers to help residents reduce exposure to environmental hazards. Item number 8, a resolution requesting the Court of Common Council appoints Martin B. John to the Internal Audit Commission. Item number 9, resolution requesting the City of Hartford will designate an employee to operate as a liaison for organizations and groups within the city to represent and serve the city's many immigrant and refugee communities. Item number 10, which will be the first item called on the suspension of the rules. Mayor Bronin with the company resolution authorizing the transfer of 11 city-owned properties to the Hartford Land Bank as a part of their Lot Next Door program. Item number 11, which was item number 2 on the suspension of the rules agenda. Mayor Bronin with the company resolution that will authorize the sale of a blighted property of 213 to 215 Lawrence Street to Mr. Aaron Gill of the Wolverine Property LLC. And item number 12, which would be the third walk-on item under the suspension of the rules, is to reappoint Ted C. as council's appointee to the Internal Audit Commission.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Councilman Sanchez?
Yes, through you, Madam President, can you please add my name to item number 9?
Councilman Clark?
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, please add my name to number 9. And for the record, item number 8, Councilwoman Rossetti's name is misspelled. So let the record reflect that it has 2 S's instead of 1.
Councilwoman Bermudez, I'll be with you in a quick second. Mr. Clerk, on item number 9, can you just please read who is actually on that resolution right now? I just want to make sure that my name is added and other council members that wish to join to make sure that they know that they are on.
Okay, 1 minute.
Thank you.
Okay. The only names I have on this copy is Councilwoman Bermudez and Councilman Mitchell.
Okay. So Councilman Sanchez has asked to be put on. Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Myself?
Betty. Okay.
Councilwoman Rossetti, is that you want to be added on? Councilwoman and Councilman LeBron?
Okay.
Okay, and Councilwoman Surgeon?
I thought my name was already there.
Yeah. Councilwoman Bermudez, you have the floor. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just want to express thank you for the council members who've added their names to this resolution and being in support of it. And as was expressed by Janet Bauer, co-chair of CREA, the Commission of Refugees and Immigrant Affairs of the City of Hartford, and others who've also come and testify before council, like Leticia Cotto, and the many members just expressing the thank you for being in support of this, and in light of Hartford being a welcoming city, being a sanctuary city, in light of Hartford also being a city that will now be receiving a greater number of refugees as the days move forward. So we just want to express thank you on behalf of those commissions and the many, many countless organizations and groups that have for decades worked with immigrants and with our refugee population.
Thank you, Councilman Bermudez. Mr. Clerk, I know I mentioned everyone's name. You did add my name to that.
I added Councilman Sanchez, Councilman Clark, Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilwoman Rosado, Councilman LeBron, and Councilwoman Surgeon.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just for clarity, because I understand how the audio can be sometimes, the consent calendar items are items number 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Are there any other discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we refer the following items to the said committees. Item number 1 to the Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee, which is also has a substitute. Mayor Bronin with the accompanying resolution requesting that pursuant to City Charter, Chapter 10, Section 7, the Court of Common Council hereby authorize the mayor to expend uncommitted fiscal year 21 budget surplus after transfers to fund balance and CIP pre-funding of school construction projects for purposes of allocations approved in the ARP. Item number 6, also to the Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee, which is a proposed ordinance amending Chapter 28, Article 9 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to align standing building committee for school building projects with State Law Special Act 01-7, which has a hearing date on Monday, July 19th, 2021. And item number 2 to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee, which is Mayor Bronin with the company resolution that will authorize the city to accept a $200,000 grant from the State Department of Economic and Community Development's Office of Brownfield Remediation and Development to initiate a comprehensive environmental assessment of the Bergdorf McCook campus at 80 Coventry Street.
Second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes, sorry.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I make a motion that we take action on item number 7, which is an ordinance as amended, Chapter 2, appointments of department heads requirements, Section 850, residency requirements of the municipal code.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll? Councilman LeBron?
Sorry, I was fumbling my pen. So this is the residency ordinance, correct?
That is,
Council President? All right.
that is correct.
So through you, Madam President, I just want to give a couple comments as a follow-up from the last time I spoke. So I won't belabor everyone with the points that I made during the last time, but this time I want to focus on the schools. And there's been a lot of discussion about schools and school placements regarding residency and that affecting people who want to have or want to be employed in Hartford and this mandate of having access to Hartford public schools. So I first want to remind everyone that in my past history, I was a lobbyist for educational choice for the residents in the city of Hartford. In those community organizing days, the families rallied around me who lived in Hartford, discussing about educational options, not only in their communities, but with all the choices that were afforded to them. We were blessed in our community by these choices by a lawsuit that I'm sure everyone is familiar with called Sheff versus O'Neill in 1989. And as a result of that lawsuit, without, again, going into the details of that lawsuit, it changed the educational landscape for all residents in Hartford that allowed for choice for all residents in Hartford. So I find it difficult oftentimes when folks say, I don't want to live in Hartford because of the schools. Well, that's very interesting because we have multiple school delivery systems that are afforded to us. We have our traditional public school systems. We have our public magnet school systems. We have our magnet systems, choice systems, state systems, VOAG programs, scholarships to private institutions. And if you're able to afford so, be able to send your children to private school. You know, and so with this residency clause, and one of the things being that folks don't want to live here because of schools, are you saying that the schools that are open to you through your own, if you want to pay for schools, or through the own options through our systems, which is equivalent to hundreds of schools, is still not good for you? I question that, particularly around, you know, people who, you know, who have the option to buy houses and live here and choose fantastic schools for their children. So I wanted to make that and put a point on the school option, because folks from the community were reaching out to me about that specifically. And I just wanted to just make that point be heard. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to my colleagues. And that's why I will be voting no to residency today.
Thank you for your comments, Councilman LeBron. Councilman Mitchum.
Thank you, Madam President. If I could, and I want to respond to Councilman LeBron, and he and I have talked about this offline too. I know where he's coming from. I just think it's worth noting that we're talking about at most 3 jobs, 3 city jobs, all of which pay, you know, more than double what the average family in this city makes, which means that, you know, if what we want is for the people who are our leaders to send their kids to our schools, and I think that's a valid thing to want, the residency requirement isn't going to do it. I mean, the mayor is required to live in the city, and he does not send his small children to our schools. So people who are making that level of money have options that most residents don't have. So I hear what Councilman LeBron is saying, but I think if what we want is to make a rule that our department heads have to send their, or our mayor or our council members have to send their kids to city schools, I mean, I would be interested to see that legislation, but I don't think we get there either way with the department head's question, for what it's worth.
Thank you, Councilman Mitchum. Councilman Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. I do echo what my colleague, Councilman Mitchum, had mentioned, that this is only 3 department head positions. Keep in mind that we did work with the mayor to make sure that there are job postings for these particular positions, because normally department head positions are not posted because they are a direct appointment of the mayor. Also, too, within this amended language, there's the language that the mayor has to come to the council for a residency to be waived by a majority vote of 5. And so it's still, the power still lies within the council on whomever the mayor chooses for these particular positions that the council must approve. Also, too, I don't want to let this be a misunderstanding to the community, to the people who are listening. This residency ordinance does not have any bearing on residency for Hartford Public Schools. This is solely for department head positions of the city of Hartford appointed by the mayor, emergency services and technology, the director of Metro Hartford Innovation Services, and the third one is the director of finance. And so I just want to repeat that this residency does not have any jurisdiction over residency for Hartford Public Schools. Hartford Public Schools has an entirely different operation, which is from the superintendent and the Board of Education, not the mayor and not city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Clark, for that clarification, which is very important. And I'm going to keep my comments short because you covered a lot of what I was going to reiterate. But I do want to take this moment to thank the Hartford Party, Councilman John Gale, and the Working Party, Councilman Mitchum and Councilwoman Bermudez, for having the various discussions to get to where we are at today in order to pass this residency requirement. So with that said, are there any other discussions? Any other discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
No.
Councilman Mitchum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
No.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And that concludes our meeting for this evening. I do want to read something real briefly so that it's communicated to the public who are with us this evening. And that is the schedule of council for the months of July and August. And it states by so being, pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 5 of the City Charter, the council shall meet regularly on the second and fourth Monday of each month at 7 p.m., except that there shall be only one regular meeting in each of the months of July and August on the second Monday evening of each of those 2 months at 7. So our next regular scheduled council meeting will be August 9th, next month at 7 p.m., where we welcome you to join us. With that, everyone be safe. Thank you for being with us this evening, and good night. I want to also thank our clerk for doing an amazing job with his staff. I see Eric on the screen, along with Hartford Public Access TV, David Grant from my office, and our wonderful corporation counsel, Mr. Howard Rifkin. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.